Hi everyone, welcome to the Highlights from Ukraine podcast, your daily audio summary of the latest news reported in the Ukrainian media. My name is Artem, and here is the news. 527 days less the Russian invasion of Ukraine. Politico informs that the first group of Ukrainian pilots who will take part in training on American F-16 fighter jets has been determined, reports Ukrainska Pravda. It includes 8 pilots who are fluent in English. The training will begin after European countries develop an official training plan and approve it with the United States. The exact dates of the start of training remain unknown. One of Politica's sources also said that 20 pilots who speak some English could begin language courses in the UK in August. The publication notes that 32 Ukrainian pilots were selected for potential participation in the training program. This amount is enough to form 2 squadrons. The Ukrainian authorities have promised that they will use the F-16 only to perform tasks within Ukraine and that American fighters will not attack targets on Russian territory. Spokesman for the Air Force Colonel Yuri Ignat said earlier that training of Ukrainian pilots on F-16s will likely start in late August, reports Ukrinform. Ignat pointed out that it takes up to 6 months for pilots to learn how to operate fighter jets. However, under certain conditions, this period can be reduced to 4 months. Marine drones attacked the Russian tanker SIG in the Kerch Strait between Crimea and Russia, reports Ukrainska Pravda. According to the Russian media, the tanker, which arrived from Turkey, delivered aviation fuel from Crimea to Syria, for which the United States added it to the sanctions list in 2019. According to the preliminary data, the ship was about 30 miles from coast. The impact of the drone fell on the engine compartment and the pump compartment. The day before, several marine drones attacked the Russian naval base in the port of Novorossiysk and damaged the Russian landing ship Olenegorski Gornyak. According to the satellite data, the ship is damaged. The photo in particular shows a dark liquid, possibly fuel or oil, flowing from the ship. President Volodymyr Zelensky in his evening video address said that he received a report by Security Service of Ukraine Chief Maluk. Without providing any details, Zelensky thanked the Security Service of Ukraine for returning the war to the aggressor state. Based on these words, the media concluded that the president was talking about the attack at Novorossiysk. We would really appreciate if you could rate us, ideally with 5 stars, in the apps where you are listening to this podcast. This way more people would learn about the highlights from Ukraine and truth about Russia's invasion. Representatives of more than 40 states are expected to take part in the meeting in Saudi Arabia this weekend to talk about peace in Ukraine, reports Radio Liberty. According to the deputy head of the Office of the President of Ukraine, Igor Zholkwa, the participants will share responsibility for individual points of the Ukrainian peace formula. Earlier, China confirmed that it will take part in the meeting. Foreign Minister Dmytro Kuleba called a major breakthrough the fact that Saudi Arabia was able to engage China in this meeting, reports Interfax Ukraine. The US commented that Russia was not invited because it wasn't ready for diplomatic negotiations. The President of Ukraine thanked Saudi Arabia for providing a platform for meeting. The Bulgarian government approved the draft agreement between the Ministry of Internal Affairs of Bulgaria and the Ministry of Defense of Ukraine on free provision of 100 Soviet-type armored personnel carriers, reports Suspilne. The decision of the Bulgarian government provides that the head of the Ministry of Internal Affairs is authorized to conduct negotiations with the Ukrainian side on the conclusion of the agreement, subject to its further ratification. Armored personnel carriers have been in the warehouses of the Ministry of Internal Affairs of Bulgaria since the 80s. This will be the first time when the Bulgarian side transfers armored vehicles to Kyiv directly and not through intermediaries as it did before. Thank you for listening to the Highlights from Ukraine podcast. We are a commercial initiative of just 2 people and we need your help to grow. Share information about the podcast, rate us in the app, subscribe to our Patreon. With your support, we are getting better. We call on you to demand from governments of your countries to impose the toughest sanctions possible on Russia and its citizens to stop their invasion of Ukraine.